I'd like to say I feel bad for them, but I don't. Hello, welcome to the program, everyone. I'm Trish Regan, MSNBC, going down the tubes. Rachel Maddow reacting to this in a really, really strange way. But, the word on the street is she's out. She's done. She's like, I don't know, maybe going to go build some crazy progressive network of her own. Welcome to the Trish Regan Show. I am Trish. It's great to have you guys all here. We got a lot going on today. Indeed, a lot going on, because take a look at these headlines. Rachel Maddow expected to be out at MSNBC. She's dissing the remake. Some odd comments from her regarding this MS Now thing, which you guys are so funny. Like, I was looking at all the commentary yesterday and you were hysterical. You had me literally laughing out loud because of some of the suggestions you had, shall we say, on the name front. Some of you thought it looked like a P, the flag thing, the red, white, and blue thing that they're trying to pull off, all of a sudden getting sort of patriotic. What do you know, over on MSNBC? And everybody's like, oh, it looks like PMS now. Anyway, lots of funny comments. And Rachel's happened to be quite funny as well, but I guess give more credence to the idea that she's out of there. Democrats admitting defeat, not just at MSNBC, but also in the great state of Texas. You get them all flying back. We get the video on their private chartered plane. And I'll tell you what, Jasmine Crockett is done. Finito, as we like to say in Italian. Trump is nearing a peace deal in Ukraine. Keep your fingers crossed. I'm really hoping this one happens. He says this is going to be his ticket to heaven. In all seriousness, I'm going to play you the clip. Welcome back to the Trish Regan Show. I am Trish. Make sure you subscribe, share, like, all that good stuff. We begin today on none other than MSNBC's debacle. It took them 29 years to figure it out, but what do you know? MSNBC, as you know it, is going bye-bye, bye-bye. Yes, and Rachel Maddow, their signature talent there, isn't too happy about it. Really not too happy. I mean, she seems a little bit miffed, if you ask me. I'm going to play or show you this commentary from her because, like, you'd think it's the company and you're trying to have a good corporate line and you might try and put a good spin on it, but not Rachel. I guess we got to give her credit for that, right? Here we go. Rachel Maddow saying, here we go to Variety, that she has no idea how to pronounce Ms. now. MS now? Is it Ms. now? Is it Miss now? Is it ma'am now? Is it PMS now? Is it? I heard all kinds of things from you guys. You guys are pretty funny. Let me know if you have any suggestions, additional ones, right, on what we can possibly call this network. We used to call it MSDNC, right? But it's now MS now. So here's the thing, like, Rachel, I don't think she needs the gig at this point in her life. I mean, I think that she's made a lot of money from them, so it's getting picked up by international media. I was just over in Ireland. The Irish Star is reporting Rachel Maddow has no idea how to pronounce MSNBC's new name in its post-rebrand. That seems kind of odd, don't you think? Just a teeny bit odd, I'd say. The liberal political commentator they write confesses she's completely stumped on how to say this. Like, nobody ran it by her? I guess she's not as in charge as you thought over there, right? Well, Joe Scarborough had kind of a different reaction, shall we say. I mean, he's actually the one who came out and announced the news. What do you know? And company man that he is, survivor, ultimate survivor. He could do the whole show and everything that he is. He's like going with it, I guess, sort of.
Breaking news as it pertains to our network. This morning, a new name for the network by the end of the year. We will become MS Now, which stands for My Source for News, Opinion, and the World. And look, Andrew, they even have a graphic up. I like it.
There it is.
Actually,
the new logo.
It looks very sporty. As we go to Versant, we're going to be moving in this direction, MS Now, which I got to say, I got a call yesterday afternoon and they're saying, we hope you're okay. We're going. I was like, what do you mean? Like, this shows we're independent. And what I've said on this show time and time again is you look at the people that are running the company, they're entrepreneurs.
Oh, it's just going to be great, right? Versant. However, you know what? I guess I'm with Rachel. I don't even know how to pronounce the name of the whole big shindig, the spin-off that Comcast has going. I will tell you this, guys. Comcast is like fleeing as fast as it can MSNBC and Rachel Maddow, for that matter. I mean, Joe, he's a little bit more sort of with the program. Don't forget, he's the guy that went down to Mar-a-Lago, right, with his wifey there well, as Rosie O'Donnell said, right? Don't quote me. You're going to listen to Rosie O'Donnell to Kiss the Ring.
Hold, please. So Mika and Joe went down to Mar-a-Lago to kiss the ring. It's the last time I ever watched Morning Joe. Period. End of statement. Unreal. Unreal.
I'm not so sure they're going to miss you, Rosie, but you are not quite the survivor that a Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski happened to be. And the question is Rachel Maddow? I'm not so sure she is. I mean, you read the tea leaves here. He's out there praising RFK Jr. on this morning's show. I mean, it's like, wait a second. We got our red, white, and blue logo. You got them going down the Morning Joe team, kissing the ring, as Rosie O'Donnell said, trying to make nice with Donald Trump. And now this, like, listen to him talking about RFK Jr. Because, RFK Jr. actually has some really good ideas on the health front. And apparently, because Morning Joe is in survival mode, they're finally recognizing that.
And Lemire, you asked, so answer it first. Why does RFK work out in blue jeans?
And it's not just here. It's
everywhere.
Every time we see footage of RFK Jr. working out, he works out in jeans, which is not normal workout attire.
Get some sweat.
He's committed to it, though.
No, he does.
Look, there you go. I mean, he's doing all the things. The jeans don't seem to be holding him back. But I've never heard never heard him offer an explanation for this particular. We talked about sartorial diplomacy earlier.
Does he swim in blue
Let's
jeans?
not forget he went swimming in, wasn't that Rock Creek Park? He went swimming in his blue jeans with his family. So that's Bobby Kennedy Jr. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth flexing for the cameras while thanking President Trump for setting the example through his presidential physical fitness initiative, which is a good thing. Let's bring in NBC News medical contributor Dr. Vin Gupta, also with us, MSNBC contributor and fitness guru.
Yeah, that's right.
Mike Barnacle.
That's right.
Also works out in full denim.
He's got the full.
The Canadian tuxedo.
It's the urban cowboy.
Yeah.
Point is, the show is suddenly getting positive on fitness, because RFK Jr. is embracing fitness, and I guess they're just figuring, they kind of suck. The whole show kind of sucks. And the whole show has just been about anti-Trump, 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 and now they have to have something else, and they've got that American flag, right, with the rebranding. Don't forget, brand new look. Check it out. My source, News Opinion World. The head of the whole network, Rebecca something, is out telling the New York Times, it's going to be great. It's going to be great. We are going to be the preeminent source for news and opinion. Oh, good luck, you guys. You just look at the logo and it tells you everything you need to know. I did see one comment which cracked me up on X where somebody was like, oh my gosh, it looks like a bad website from 2007. Okay. The peacock, it was kind of pretty. And actually it did sort of stand for something. But here's the question. So what happens now to CNBC? I used to work there. Now, CNBC is a little bit different. I actually think you have to have a little bit more of an IQ, just saying, in order to work at a business network, because you got to understand something beyond sort of, the drama and the intrigue of the political, high and mighty, left and right. You actually have to be grounded in something. For me, it was always and still is economics and policy and markets. And I look at how the markets are reacting, how the economy is responding. I like the idea that we'd still have just 2.7% inflation, which, is not bad in light of everything that we were dealing with, upwards of 9%, thanks to Joe Biden. So there's a lot of good things to praise in this economy and these markets right now. CNBC, what happens to them? So interestingly enough, guess what, guys? They get to stay and keep their name. They really do. So it just goes to show you, they don't have the stink around them, shall we say, that the likes of MSNBC has. But, it was pretty stinky because you had some stinky people stinking up the joint. The likes of, yes, Rachel Maddow. Oh, and this one, they already got rid of her, right? Remember Joy Reid?
People are rightfully alarmed. They have a reason to be alarmed. And if you would vote for that, people may not feel so confident that they're safe with you. This is not crazy. This is legitimate feelings of fear of you and a feeling that you might not be someone they could trust. if this thing goes way south, autocracy.
Well, you know what? They didn't trust you now, did they? At MSNBC. Joy Reid going bye-bye. So she has left. And then the next question becomes like, what happens to Rachel Maddow in all of this? I think it's really clear, Joe and Mika, they're staying for all it's worth, right? They went down, they kissed the ring. They're doing puff pieces on RFK Jr. and all his health stuff. I mean, they're willing to play ball. So there's that. But what happens to the likes of, say, a Rachel Maddow, who has made it her passion in her career to do nothing but go after Donald Trump? She's already said ahead of the election she thought that she would be out. She really did. And I would agree with her. At this moment in time, there's no way anybody's going to pay her $25 million a year, if that's in fact what she's making, to do one show a week. It just doesn't make any, I go back to my basics, in business, economic sense. But she knows it. By the way, the ladies on The View know it too. They're going to go bye-bye because, again, it doesn't make any economic sense. You can't pay them enough money in order to keep the lights on in these places.
So you said recently that you thought that you, as an outspoken critic, could be a target yourself. Some people think that sounds overdramatic, but I'm right there with you. I think that he is so vindictive that he will go after, however he has to, through the IRS maybe, or even through sponsors to get us off the air maybe, or you. Yeah. How seriously should we be taking that?
Well, so I was asked, am I worried about me? And my answer was, I'm worried about all of us. I'm no more worried about me than I am worried about everybody in the country. Yeah. I think it's bad to have somebody saying, give me as much power as you can in this country so I can use it to go after other Americans. So I can use it to go after these subhuman internal enemies and I'll destroy them. Like, that's just not a good system for anybody. And I don't think anybody's safe if that's the sort of basis on which he wants to get more power.
Okay, so she worries that she's going to be out of a job. Joy Behar has worried for a while. I think that's probably one of the reasons she put her $10 million, 4,000 square foot little house in Sag Harbor on the market. I don't know if she sold it yet, but she's reading the tea leaves, okay? So they're all reading the tea leaves. They're figuring out, maybe we're not worth as much in this new economy, in this new world. I don't think it has anything to do with Trump and everything to do with the fact that the viewers don't trust them anymore, right? Everything that they told them was effectively bogus, and now nobody's watching them anymore. So there was this article recently saying Rachel Maddow takes this pay cut at MSNBC. This is right after the election. She was going down from $30 million a year, $30 million a year for Rachel Maddow. Wow. Good work if you can get it, right? Down to $25 million a year. And they saw this as a victory because they kept her. And I'm like, do you really want to keep her? Do you really, really want to do this? New York Times writing about this, saying, goodbye, MSNBC. Hello, Ms. Now. Ms. Okay. Wasn't there like a Ms. magazine? Don't call me Mrs., don't call me ma'am. By the way, I was reading in the New York Times, non sequitur, but related, today, and they were talking about the First Lady somehow, because they were talking about Melania Trump and her letter that she wrote, and they kept referring to her as Ms. Trump. I'm like, ooh, really, guys? All right, this must be a new standard in AP or something. Now you guys are doing Ms. all the time for every woman, no longer Mrs. I bet you if you ask her, she'd rather be Mrs. But this is the Ms. Network, no longer MSNBC. Don't forget, MS always stood for Microsoft. They got out in 2012, but for whatever reason, MS kept the branding. They became MSNBC, and they were using the resources of NBC News. But now Comcast is like, whoa, no, we don't want anything to do with you because you guys are literally the redheaded stepchild that we don't want to be associated with. We'll take CNBC. We're allowing them to keep the NBC in their name. Interestingly enough, again, I mentioned that was a network I used to work for. Actually used to host a show with none other than Larry Kudlow, who's over on Fox now, used to be in the White House. Brilliant guy, wonderful, wonderful co-host. And we had the top-rated show at 11 a.m. for quite some time there. We had lots of good economic indicators that would come out at 11 a.m. But that network gets to stay CNBC, I guess in part because it was always cable news or consumer news and business channel. That was the original name of it. And so they're going to stick with that, and they're going with it. And that's where it remains for now. But you know what? All these kind of, not so stellar people over at the Redheaded Stepchild Network are really looking totally like redheads. I mean, you've even got Peppermint Patty to throw in the mix, right? Poor Peppermint Patty, who can't get a rating to save her life. For goodness sakes, you look at those numbers. Now you know who needs to be out, for goodness sakes. Really and truly. I mean, it's the end. It's the end of an era. 29 years down the drain. MSNBC, no more. But again, this is a bizarre place where they're kind of sort of fascist in their approach to things, or communist, or whatever you want to call it. I mean, I just look at, for example, these bizarre demands that they put on reporters. Not me. You know what? Because I don't deal with demands. I'm over here on YouTube and Spotify, also Rumble. So thank you to everybody who's watching on these various networks. Remember to subscribe, share, like, all that stuff. But this cranked me up because the Daily Beast, who's supposed to do their bidding, right? I think that they pitch stories to the Daily Beast. They're like, oh, Rachel said this on Monday night. Why don't you write about it? And Daily Beast is like, oh, thank you for the heads up. We will. And so that's the kind of site that Daily Beast is. So when they were going to announce this, big name change, they gave it to Daily Beast with some kind of embargo or whatever, and they had instructions, which is sort of funny, right, for a news network. But they wanted to make sure that in the announcement, and I'm going to quote here from Daily Beast, journalists who report on it, not the ones who actually work for the network, but the ones who were reporting on the network, were actually sent, quote, a bizarre set of demands, ordering them not to call it MS Now. When they first mentioned the network in a story or a broadcast, the email that they sent out says journalists must write out my source, news, opinion, world, MS Now, in parentheses, the first time the network is name checked. And then they can use Ms. MS Now, but only if they include a space in the middle of the acronym. Quote, it was unclear if the name is supposed to be written in bold typeface as well as Trump-style all caps, but the CEO of the new parent company, Versant, that's what I call it. It's actually Versant, I think, but, I'm trying to give it a little French spin, give him a little flair. Mark Lazarus used the same bold and all caps formulation in a memo sent to staff, which was seen by the Daily Beast. The spokesperson declined to comment on whether the space was intended to emphasize whether it should be pronounced as MS Now. And then, of course, Rachel's asked about it, and she says, I have no idea. I don't know how to say the name of my new network. So if Rachel doesn't know how to say the name of the new network, and there's debate that's getting passed around about how one should say it, then I think, guys, you might just have a little bit of a problem. Here's the article again, Daily Beast, okay? So they're writing about how this is so strange. They're saying in what seemed like it was a concession, MSNBC suggested that media outlets were also allowed to call, allowed, ha! Fat chance. These people, unbelievable. MS Now, my source for news, opinion in the world, if they wanted to sound conversational. The Oxford comma is apparently compulsory. Interesting. I'm a big believer in the Oxford comma. I like it. I think it's good for clarity's sake, but a lot of modern people don't really like it that much, but they're going back to basics. You see, they're even going back to the American flag. You saw the branding, did you not? Take a peek. Nice little brand with red, white, and blue. They're getting rid of those rainbow colors. I don't know what's wrong with the rainbow. The cute little peacock. No more. No way. No how. But you know what I'm going to tell you guys? It doesn't matter. None of it actually matters, because when you look at the ratings, they're sinking. They're sinking like the Titanic. Here we go. Look at that. Unbelievable. These are actually from about 10 days ago. You look at those numbers and you have a problem. You have a problem with a network that is no longer standing any shot of success. It doesn't matter what we call it, whether there's an Oxford comma or not. You look at those numbers and you see that they are down. Somewhere between, gosh, what is that? Fox is down too, actually. This tells you a lot about cable news in general. MSNBC down 55%. In demo, that's where they sort of gauge their advertisers, and they're down 58% in the overall primetime viewers. This is not, oh, look here, I even circled it for you. This is not good. I was sort of shocked that Fox was down 41%, but I think this is the sign of the times. This shows you, you know what it shows you? That nobody's watching cable anymore. Thank you very much for being over here. I mean, we're able to do so much, frankly, with so little, right? Which is great. Like, this is the future. This is the new medium. I don't have to sit there and listen to the likes of MSNBC say, okay, oh, oops, what is it? my source for opinion news, whatever the heck they want you to go with, MS Now, Ms. Now, PMS Now, who knows. Former Biden press secretary Jen Psaki, meanwhile, struggling big time. Like, she can't even get on the screen, and she's down 44% from where Rachel Maddow was. So what the heck do you do? Seriously, if you're running this network, I'm going to tell you what you do. You get rid of any pricey talent. Who the heck needs them? You go out there and you try and find some new people that maybe have a little personality. I know it's hard among the libs, but you got to find somebody with a little bit of a spark, not Peppermint Patty. She's not going to be able to do it. By the way, the public doesn't trust her. Why? Because she sat there with a straight face and told us that Joe Biden was absolutely perfectly fine. For how long? So they're not going to trust her. They trust, believe it or not, Rachel Maddow a little bit more, but they realize that she actually also sold them a whole bunch of goods, a bill of goods. She took him down the rabbit hole with Russia, Russia, Russia. I kind of wonder if there's going to be something coming back to haunt her on that front. I would just say, here's the scenario. It's ending. It's ending for this network. They had a good 29-year run. The medium has changed, right? People are over here. We're able to do a whole lot more with a whole lot less. And guess what? We don't have to answer to middle management who wants us to do this, that, and the other. So we don't have to kowtow to people. We don't have to go kiss any rings. I'm going to tell you exactly what I think all the time. It's just, last few go-arounds, I would tend to get in a little trouble for that. And now there's no one to get in trouble with. So it's a very, very different kind of experience. And it's a great one. And it's something I love. It's the beauty of being independent. And I thank you for all your support. We got a lot more news to get to today. I just want to give a shout out to my own company that I also started in addition to the Trish Regan Show. And that is the 76 report. Go check out our portfolios. They're 76portfolios.com. Look at those numbers. Our top tech pick up 84%, another up 54%. You can see inflation protection, income builder. This is the time to be in this market right now. I kid you not. I would never steer you wrong. Anyway, we've got Democrats that are having to kind of eat their words and eat some humble pie and, well, go back to Texas. Did you see them on the plane? The private plane, nonetheless. Take a peek.
Democratic lawmakers from Texas just arrived, and it looks like they are about to board.
They're boarding now.
Yeah, they're boarding a private jet. Looks like back to the Lone Star State. The legislators have been in Illinois, as we've been reporting now, for 2 weeks, protesting congressional redistricting in their state.
They don't like the idea that the map is getting redrawn and that Jasmine Crockett's going to be out of a gig. I just say, you know what? The Republicans are doing the Dems a huge favor on this one because you don't want, trust me, you really don't want Jasmine Crockett as the head of your party. I mean, it's kind of a toss-up. I'm with Trump. Who's the lower IQ? Is it AOC or is it Jasmine Crockett? Neither of them are quite bright. But anyway, this is the map that's getting redrawn. So she's going to be out of a gig. I'm telling you, she's not going to be able to get elected unless, of course, she can prove to the people of Texas in this new district that she's going to have that she's actually going to work for them instead of herself, because it's very clear. And you just ask her stuff this. Check out the New York Post article on this, where they said this woman is only out for Jasmine Crockett and no one else. And she sits around in her luxury apartment thinking about, what can I do next to become a social media star? She just wants to be an MSNBC contributor. MS Now contributor, whatever the heck it's called. How should I know? Even Rachel Maddow does not know what this network is called. So Jasmine had her moment in the sun, as you recall, right? I think Marjorie said something about her fake eyelashes and it really set her off.
Ms. Green for 4 minutes and 21 seconds.
Mr. Chair, point of order.
Who's?
It's me.
Ms. Crockett.
I'm just curious, just to better understand your ruling. If someone on this committee then starts talking about somebody's bleach blonde, bad built butch body, that would not be engaging in personalities, correct?
A what now?
Chairman, I make a motion to strike those words.
I don't think that's a parliament.
I will never get tired of this. Full disclosure, I will never get tired of this.
Clarification on what quality.
Chairman, motion to strike those words.
I had no idea what you just said.
We're not gonna do this. Look, you guys earlier literally just.
You just voted to do it.
Y'all did it first, so you don't
voted to do it.
Order.
I'm trying to get clarification.
Look, calm down.
No, because this is what y'all do. So I'm trying to get
Crockett, you're not recognized. Miss Crockett.
I can't hear you with your yelling.
Don't want
calm
me
down.
No,
can you please calm down?
Don't tell me to calm down.
Calm down.
Because y'all talk noise, and then
You're
can't
out of
take
control.
Because if I
Chairman,
come and talk shit about her, y'all gonna have a problem.
Mr. Chairman.
All right, Chair. Okay.
You're
Order. Chair now recognize.
What a gal. Oh, I'm sure she's going to be sorely missed there in the great state of Texas. Anyway, so she represents Dallas. She took off with the rest of them, right? They just fled for 2 weeks. And then Governor Abbott, also known as Governor Hot Wheels, because that is the derogatory term, but I'm going with it. I consider it a badge of honor for Greg Abbott to be called Hot Wheels by the likes of this well, I'm going to be polite, rather disgraceful woman, okay? So she called him that, which was, the guy's in a wheelchair. I mean, kind of unnecessary, right, to do that one. But that's Jasmine. I mean, she is not exactly a class act by any stretch of the imagination, even though she, by the way, went to some fancy schools in Missouri, came from a stable home environment. She wants you to think she's a girl from the hood, and she puts on that caricature, that act, and she sits around and thinks about how she's going to do it. Only, I don't know if she's going to be representing the hood anymore with this new redistricting. I think it's a whole different ballgame. So Jasmine's out. Dems, you can thank us later, right? And this is a big deal for Texas. Now, what's going to happen next? They came back on their private plane to Texas because they wanted to have a legal leg to stand on. They figured, legally, maybe this doesn't look so good if we just fly off to Never Never Land, to Illinois and other places where we can get put up by hospitable donors, I guess. So we better go back and try and actually work this out. I would just say, listen, you guys have to work it out. You have to try and work it out. This is your job. You cannot just not show up for work and expect that you're going to continue being on the payroll. One of you guys is funny. I saw in the comments, you're like, okay, you know what? They just need to come back for the paycheck. I guess it's, every 2 weeks. We don't have a whole lot of Jasmine fans. I can see looking at all of this. I love seeing your comments, though. Please, this is what's so cool about this environment. It really is a 3D environment. I agree with you, Peace of My Mind. It is all a performance with one Jasmine Crockett, totally. And she is, the last Boy Scout, pretty darn trashy. And look, I don't like to even use words like that, but there's not a lot of intellect or seriousness coming from the likes of one Jasmine Crockett. And that's disappointing, right? You kind of have higher aspirations for your representatives in Congress. You think that they should be acting with a certain kind of decorum and also be trying to work towards some kind of greater good to the benefit of the people. But in fact, that's not actually what's happening. It's all for performance reasons because, I don't know, maybe she does want to get that gig over at that, whatever the heck the network is called right now. MS Now or... See, I'm cracking up at some of the names you guys have come up with. I mean, we're going to have some fun with this for a while, right? Poor MSNBC, 29 years down the drain. Oh, and they're going to say it's all because of Trump. I'm going to tell you, it's not because of Trump. It is because the medium has changed. And you guys can't keep up with it. And before you sit there and tell me it's Trump again, look, the medium's changed. The fact that Fox is down 41%. This is actually a graphic that was put out by Breitbart. So when they write CNN LOL, that's our friends at Breitbart. They're writing that, not actually me, although I probably would too. So CNN's down badly as well. And it's just this is the reality of this moment right now because people do not have to subscribe to cable. I've said this, I'm going to say it again. And so as a result of that, they choose to save the money. They choose to go and seek out other news sources, opinion news sources that are transparent and authentic, like us right here on the Trish Regan Show. I mean, look at what we're doing. I mean, we're upwards of 930,000 right now subs. We're climbing to 1 million. We're going to have a big party. It's a big party when we hit 1 million subs here, which could happen sooner rather than later on the Trish Regan channel. So imagine that. I look at these numbers, and granted, I was at Fox Business, not at Fox News, but I was at Fox Business, and we're doing more in any given show live here than I was doing there or at CNBC and certainly Bloomberg, right? So this is an amazing accomplishment as far as I'm concerned, not just for me, and not just for you, because it's exciting, right, that we can have this kind of platform, but for the industry overall. I mean, this is a massive shift, and these guys are playing catch up nonstop. We do have subscribers, and we do have sponsors, and we are very proud of our sponsors. We love our sponsors here. I'll tell you a little bit about Balance in Nature, for example. I'm going to get rid of the you're welcome to call them on the phone, but I think the big deal is you got to go to the website, guys. You got to go to the website, balanceofnature.com, 35% off with code word Trish. I'll tell you, have you ever flipped to the back of a supplement bottle and thought, what the heck is in this stuff? What are these ingredients? If I can't pronounce it, I get a little bit worried. I don't like taking something that I cannot pronounce, and that's why I actually use Balance in Nature, because I can actually pronounce everything in there, every single ingredient that's in there for the fruits and veggies, veggie supplements. That's exactly what it sounds like, right? So you're dealing with real stuff, whole fruits and whole vegetables, no binders, no fillers, no artificial colors, just real whole food. Gluten-free, by the way, vegan friendly, and picked at peak ripeness. So they take basically 31 different fruits and veggies. They harvest them. They gently vacuum, cold dry them into a fine powder to effectively lock in that nutrition. And it's like getting this huge platter of produce every single day without all the grocery runs or the chopping or, the eating, right? Like you don't have to eat like 31 different things. You can take the supplement instead. So I encourage you to actually go check this out. Balanceinnature.com. Use my discount code 35% off plus free shipping plus a free bottle of fiber and spice. That's on top of the free shipping. So go to balanceinnature.com. Use my discount code. It's good for the show. It's good for you. 35% off. We got some good stuff going on. It looks like there might actually be a chance for peace in the world, dare I say. I mean, this is awesome. So a couple things happening. Number one, Donald Trump kind of seeing this as his ticket to heaven. In all seriousness, I'm going to play this sound from Fox and Friends this morning. But it's getting more and more crystal clear that there may be something happening. Just look at all the headlines. You have, for example, the Italian prime minister coming out and saying yesterday was a really, really important day for the world. You get the Finnish prime minister saying, look, good things are coming. Ted Cruz saying he expects a peace deal within the year. You've got Macron talking to Trump, and it looks like something's happening. Donald Trump, the president of the United States of America, being caught on a hot mic telling Macron, and I know he's close to Macron, even though they have their differences. I happen to know that he likes Macron, I think on a personal level, and he leaned over to him and he's like, you know what? I think we're close. I think we're close to getting a deal. Listen to this hot mic moment with Emmanuel Macron.
I think he wants to make a deal for me. You understand that? As crazy as it sounds.
Woo! I think he wants to make a deal with me, he said, as crazy as it sounds. So that's pretty good, right? That's pretty good. I like that. And Macron's like, great. Like everybody's like, great. Like, wouldn't that be amazing? Now, we don't want to be naive, any of that, but it's a good sign, guys. It's a good sign. So he went on to Fox and Friends this morning and he spoke a little bit about this. I'm calling this his ticket to heaven. It's like highway to heaven. Take a peek.
Just want to end it. I want to end it. We're not losing American lives. We're not losing American soldiers. We're losing Russian and Ukrainian, mostly soldiers. Some people, as missiles hit wrong spots or get lobbed into cities like Kiev and towns. But, if I can save 7,000 people a week from being killed, I think that's I want to try and get to heaven if possible. I'm hearing I'm not doing well. I am really at the bottom of the totem pole. But if I can get to heaven, this will be one of the reasons. Well, I think I saved a lot of lives with India, Pakistan. They were going at it. The planes were being shot down. That was going to be maybe a nuclear war if I let that go. And I did that through trade.
Interesting, right? So he, I think, recognizes that this is an important and powerful time. And he has the ability to save a lot of lives. And wouldn't that be amazing, heaven or not, right? Wouldn't that be something for the world? Let's say a prayer that this all comes to fruition. I'll tell you, listening to the mainstream media, it's like they don't want it to happen. They really don't. And I'm kind of thinking that Hillary Clinton might have to eat her words, you guys. Remember just a couple of days ago, going into the meeting, she said this. She said she's willing to nominate him for a Nobel Peace Prize if he pulls this one off. Hillary, careful what you wish for.
If President Trump were the architect of that, I'd nominate him for a Nobel Peace Prize.
We are on the precipice of a meeting between President Trump and President Putin in Alaska. Drawing on your experience as Secretary of State, if you were en route to Alaska, what would you be looking to get? What does an acceptable deal look like?
He is not meeting with a friend. He is meeting with an adversary, and an adversary who wants to see the destruction of the United States and the Western alliance. But if he could bring about the end to this terrible war where Putin is the aggressor, invading
then, by the way,
country.
she says, I would nominate him for a Nobel Peace Prize. Here's Donald Trump speaking again on Ukraine this morning.
I wouldn't say they are ever going to be best friends, but they're doing okay. And we're just going to see. So we're setting up a meeting. I sort of set it up with Putin and Zelensky. And, you know, they're the ones that have to call the shots. We're 7,000 miles away, in all fairness. You know, we've spent through the previous administration $350 billion. Europe has spent a lot also, $100 billion, but it should be reversed if we should have been in for anything. But it wouldn't have happened, so that would have been much better because so many people died. This is the biggest bad situation since World War II. There's been nothing even close.
Politics is...
Yeah. It's a tough one. Look, and you know all the reasons. I don't need to school you all on this, but look, there's been this expansion of NATO that's been happening for a while. And the guy who's the architect of the deal, the former ambassador to the USSR, he warned of this. He actually warned of this repeatedly, including in an op-ed in the New York Times, where he said, look, if you continue this expansion, you're going to be in a situation where it's like the Cold War all over again, which could actually heat up to something worse. This is canon that I'm talking about. And so I just think that you have to understand this from all sides. It's complicated. I get it. Ukraine wants to be a sovereign nation. I get that Russia is feeling threatened. And I don't think there's really any easy answer. I was just over in Ireland. I was thinking about the Southern Ireland situation, but it's different because it wasn't as much of a security threat. I don't know. Well, maybe it is, to a certain extent. The Republic of Ireland, they did see the UK as a continued security threat being there in their country. But eventually they were able to come to the Good Friday Agreement. And in that agreement, which Bill Clinton, to his credit, had a big hand in, they were able to end the violence that was happening there on the northern and southern border. I mean, you think about Derry, right, which the Brits would still call Londonderry. You think about Belfast and the violence that was happening, and it was because of a land dispute. And eventually what they came to terms with was, okay, we're going to live here peacefully, and if at some point in the future people vote in Northern Ireland to become one with the Republic of Ireland, we will take that into very, very serious consideration. In the meantime, what's going to happen is you're going to have the ability basically to hold both passports. Incidentally, it's kind of funny because the whole EU thing has a lot of people that may have had British passports given Brexit choosing to have the Irish passports because then they get to go through the lines a little bit quicker, right, in the airport. Anyway, long story short, they were able to find a solution. This is obviously different in Ukraine with Russia, but these things have happened before, and we just need to get creative and we need to get down to business, and this is what he's trying to do. So fingers crossed that, he gets that speed highway ticket to heaven, if you would, right? I'm hoping, I'm praying. Really good news on the crime front. Have you guys seen this out of DC? Amazing. I mean, I know it's only been a week, but wow, these are some pretty impressive numbers. I'm going to get to them in just a second, but I'm going to also point out that I am coming to you live from Greece right now. I'm actually heading back to the States very soon, and so the next time you see me, I'll be in my studio, but it is so hot outside. It is so darn hot that I'm inside. You can probably see a little bit of reflection on the glass behind me. I'm inside in my wonderful air conditioning. I was thinking about this because one of our other great advertisers here on the show happens to be a shale company out of the U.S., NASDAQ-listed Prairie Operating Company. And one of the things that they've talked about, which I just so wholeheartedly agree with them on, is that there's tremendous benefits to energy. I think about myself and, I'm traveling with family. I've got older parents and woo, it's warm, right? Like you're sweating in places you didn't know you could sweat. And thank goodness for air conditioning. We wouldn't have air conditioning. Thank you very much. If it weren't for fossil fuels, those terrible, terrible, bad fossil fuels. The reality is poverty's crashing. Life is booming. Things are good. Why? Fossil fuels. I mean, I get it. Everybody wants to say they're ruining the planet, they're ruining the planet, they're ruining their planet. But you know what they're not telling you? That they're actually pulling a lot of people out of poverty and they're saving lives. We live in the safest, healthiest, most prosperous time. Think about this in human history. Since 1980, global extreme poverty has plummeted from 42% to under 10%. Pretty miraculous, right? And why is that? Life expectancy, meanwhile, incomes, they have all soared, and this transformation happened, You know what? It didn't happen in spite of fossil fuels. It happened in large part because of them, from powering clean water systems and food supply chains to driving industrial growth and to life-saving infrastructure. Fossil fuels have been the quiet force in the background, helping to lift billions of people out of poverty. So I get, the activists out there, they just want to blame fossil fuels for everything. I'll tell you, the data tells another story, not to mention everyone's comfort level. But think about that. If you're older and you're suffering from the heat, that has effects on your health. And this is all thanks to oil. Go to oilfacts.com today, brought to you by NASDAQ-listed Prairie Operating Company, a high-growth, low-cost producer of safe and responsible American energy. Again, oilfacts.com, oilfacts.com. You can learn a whole lot more. I love seeing this statistic, you guys. Crime down in Washington, D.C. Boy, the left, eat your heart out with this one. Okay, we have to thank our friends at Fox. Did you see this one? D.C. crime since federal control. They made a nice little graphic here. Robbery down 44%. You get carjackings down 83%. My gosh, car theft down 21%. Violent crime down 22%. Property crime down 6%. All crimes down 8%. I will take this any day of the week. This is exactly what we're talking about. You need to actually prioritize things like law and order. You can't just say, okay, defund the police. We're going to look back in history and say that was really wacky. That's what they wanted you to believe on MS, whatever the heck it's called. Right? MSNBC was always trying to say, defund the police, defund the police, defund the police. The police are bad. It's like, no. Listen, if you live in one of those neighborhoods, I'll just point out, and we've seen this, by the way, from multiple people in D.C., lots and lots of people that live in challenged areas are saying, thank goodness, we actually want to see some presence of the police on our streets because this is better for everyone. I mean, how can you have a shot at the American dream if you can't even get to school and back, if you can't even get to work and back? Because you're worried about your very existence. And that's what DC has become. And for Democrats to find themselves in a corner on this one, it's their own doing, right? They make their own bed and now they have to lie in it. They're like, oh, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. Guys, you're going to sit there and tell us like it's ever okay? I mean, you've seen the statistics. I've shown you. DC is like worse than Lima, Peru, or Mexico City, or places in Africa. I mean, you look at the numbers and it's really rather shocking. 41 per 100,000 murders a year in Washington, D.C., which is far less than the 8 you would have in Mexico City, or I can't remember if it's 7 or 6 in Lima, Peru. Let's see, I've got the numbers right here, I think. Yes, I do. Okay, Lima's 7 per 100,000, Havana 4 per 100,000, Nairobi 5 per 100,000, Brasilia 13 per 100,000. That's the capital of Brazil, guys. Bogota 11 per 100,000. Bogota was always considered in Colombia a very dangerous place, and yet you know who takes the cake? It is Washington, D.C. at 41 per 100,000. Now, what do you know? You got a different story to tell because Donald Trump is willing to be politically incorrect.
And we're getting rid of the slums, too. We have slums here. We're getting rid of them. I know it's not politically correct. You'll say, oh, so terrible. No, we're getting rid of the slums where they live.
Good. Okay? Like, you can't have neighborhoods with high crime. You got to do something about it, and you got to be willing to arrest people, and you got to be willing to deal with the consequences of those numbers when they're kind of discouraging too, because you're going to see sometimes an uptick in all of that, an uptick because you know what? As these numbers come in, if you're willing to arrest people for things, then these numbers actually might not be as perfect as they look today. So I would just say it takes guts, it takes courage, and it takes a certain personality to be willing to take this on and be willing to take the heat. But you know what? He's made that clear over and over and over again. He's willing to take it on. He doesn't care. He's like, I'm back around, I'm trying to get my highway ticket to heaven. All right. I want world peace. I want DC to be safe. I want girls to compete against girls in athletics. It doesn't seem like he's asking for that much. I mean, world peace, I get. Reminds me of the beauty pageants, right? What do you want? World peace. We all do. We all want that. And this president is pushing hard for it. And I think he deserves the benefit of the doubt on that. and he deserves our support. So thank you for all you guys are doing here on this show. My little gift to you is to go over to 76 Research, to subscribe to my model portfolios there, or just get the 76 report for $1 a month, code word dollar, DOLLAR. Let me help you however I can. But I am so appreciative of everything that you guys have been able to do as we climb and climb and climb and climb and get closer and closer to 1 million subs. It's sort of just amazing. Thank you so much, Tracy. I really appreciate the comment. You're right. It's Sandra Bullock, right? What was that? Miss Congeniality. And I saw the sequel too. I loved both movies. But, you know, I was also a former Miss New Hampshire in the Miss America pageant myself. I don't think I actually quoted world peace, but how could you not, right? We all want it. We all want it. Thank you, peace of my mind. Thank you so much. It's good to see everybody here. Don't forget to subscribe. Leave a comment. I do look at them afterwards. And you know what? We've got a lot more content coming your way all day long tomorrow. I am going to be traveling. I will see you back here Thursday on the program live. I can't wait for it. See you then. Have a good one.